Welcome to Module 4 of our velocity-based training series brought to you by GymAware. In this module, we're going to go through our lower body variants. So just a couple of key exercises that we use to give a really good understanding of how we set it up, what we're looking for, how the athlete can see some of the feedback, and then the variations that we can start to utilize, along with the different data options that we can do when it looks at a variable output, so you guys can get a really good understanding. So today we're going to have Georgie come in and do a few squats for us to have a bit of a warm-up go. But before we do that, I'm going to show you how we actually set it up in particular. So firstly, we have our iPad here, magnetic casing set up, very easy to use. If I was working with Georgie in a real case scenario, I would put this on the back vertical so she can see it quite clearly. This being on the front vertical allows you guys to be able to see a little bit more what she's going through. The next part, as you can see, is our RS unit on the floor here. It has our magnetic disc at the bottom here that allows attachment to, keeps it nice and secure. If you lose this guy, you can obviously use a metal plate as well. But as we pull up, it's got a nice little magnetic attachment at the bottom. We put it straight onto the bar, and then for a little bit of extra security, just Velcro over the top to keep that nice and rigid. We can see when we take the RS unit, it has the ability to move with a slight angle. I'll always endeavour to try and keep the tether as vertical as possible, but there is degrees of freedom here that allows it to still be accurate while getting a little bit of an angle. But we'll always endeavour to try and set this in that nice vertical bar path that Georgie's going to set up on. So as we set it up there, I will typically move it away a little bit just to allow a good position for her to be able to squat in. And that is as simple as it goes. At the moment, it is on an automatic one, so if I click prepare, it'll start to get ready. The athlete's ready. We've selected the athlete, body weight's in. We can then add in the bar weight. So in this case, we'll put 60 kilos. Done, and we're away. We've selected high bar squat. To the right side here, when we're not in this preparation mode, we can select any exercise we need, and I'll show you that when we go through our following exercises. Okay, Georgie's going to come in and she's going to give us 5 reps with really good intent. We can see the bar set at 60 kilos. We're measuring mean velocity for each of these reps. When you're ready, here we go. Driving out with intent, lovely. We can see it's picked it up straight away. 0.79, 0.82, 0.80. 8.1 and final one drive through, beautiful, 0.77. So straight away, obviously it's only a demo, an example, but we can start to see that on that 5th rep, Georgie starts to lose a little bit of that concentric velocity. So a really good indicator of, hey, if we're going for say 8 reps and I see that start to drop on the 5th, what does the 6th look like? Does it hit 0.77? Does it start to drop even quicker? In which case, do we need to stop the set if our intent is to produce really good velocity with it? When we're looking at it, I've obviously selected mean velocity here. We can change depending on what we need. We're going to keep it at mean velocity for now, but we also have our set timer for any rest periods as well to make sure we're accountable to it. But again, all information, all in one spot, very easy for the athlete to get feedback and really easy for me as a coach to track where they're at. So our next movement we're going to do is a deadlift trap bar. So you can see we've set up the GymAware unit just under. Using Olympic plates means it fits perfectly under the bar. You'll also notice now with this one, the variation and option we're going to use within the GymAware cloud app is how to actually set a target. So we've just seen Georgie do her squat outcomes. Obviously, I was reading out what she was getting and encouraging her to hit higher and faster. But ultimately on the app, we can now set a target. So you can see at the moment, we've got deadlift trap bar selected, but I can now set her target. And based off what she hit with her squat, which was that 0.8, I'm going to set 0.8 as a target on here to see if we can keep her above 0.8 velocity. So let me set that. And now we can set the bar at 65. We have a mean velocity target. Let's see how she goes for 5 reps. Ooh. 0.77, 75, 68, 76. Well done. So we can see in the imagery that as she's gone through, she's hit 5 reps. Her first rep was 0.8 on the dot, hit the target exactly. But you can now see reps 2, 3, 4, and 5 all redlined being below 0.8. So a 0.75, 0.68, 0.76, and 0.76. Now, for filming purposes, I'm holding the iPad and obviously doing the directing. In a feedback scenario, we can have the iPad set up in front of her and she'll be able to see that feedback go each time, okay? So we want to make sure that when we're setting thresholds, we can have it as a direct feedback to the athlete. It allows them to engage with the iPad simply by selecting what exercise and the target that I've already set. And it means that I can be moving around the gym, coaching other athletes, while my athletes that are on the velocity-based training applications are getting direct feedback straight away. Now, obviously as a coach, I want to be around and try and coach as much as I can, but it allows us to save a little bit of coaching time to have that direct feedback for them. Now we're going to do exactly what we did with our squatting. We're going to modify and pick up some jump work, go a little bit lighter and high velocity, and let's see how she goes. So for this option, we're going to use a counter movement jump with the trap bar. So you can see on the iPad, I can select trap bar, counter jump, get it ready to go. My target for this one, we're going to try and go above 1.3 meters a second. So we've set 1.3 as the target. We've got our trap bar counter movement jump. We're going to nail 5 jumps and see if she can hit the target for each of them. And with it, I'm going to set it up so she's got some feedback to see. And let's see how she goes. Reset, good. 6-1, easy. 9-9, flying through. 6-1. 5-5. 6-3, well done, putting down. So you can see with a little bit of feedback and obviously me setting the velocity a little bit lower that she can achieve it, she's absolutely nailed it. And really simple feedback for her to be able to utilize to make sure that every rep is driving maximum velocity output. Another great option when we're using our velocity-based training is not just for our free weights and Olympic lifting, also from a machine standpoint, we can utilize the RS unit in a number of machine scenarios. One being our leg press. Now, depending on what type of options you have, you can wedge a plate up. We use just 2 incline, decline boards there. We can also see that that G8 magnetic disc sits at the bottom to allow to anchor the RS unit. So it's not going anywhere, but it creates a nice straight line of pull to make sure our accuracy of our data is really good. So Georgie's going to jump in, not that she already has, and both feet are going to go onto the plate. Everything is standard. You can see I've selected leg press for this one. It's got an auto record ready to go, no target, but we're just going to nail 6 reps and we can start to see the feedback that she's going to be getting on it. So driving through, picks up as normal, nice and smooth, 0.43, 0.46, 0.49, all the way up to the final 0.47. So nice and consistent across the whole set. Obviously no weight on it, but it's a really good option to start to utilize for athletes, even when they cannot load their back. We can't put a bar on their back for squatting. We can't hinge them for deadlifting. They may be in a rehab group. They may be in a modified group, but that does not mean that from a velocity standpoint, we're letting them skip out. We're still tracking it. We're still being able to be prescriptive with it to make sure that we nail where it should be within our velocity bands.